All right, howdy cowpokes. This is a new one that I have been looking forward to. I'm always searching for like, what's the best EDC? And probably the answer is there is no one single thing. But I have gravitated away from single-bladed tactical knives, OTFs, and things. I still carry them, here and there, but I like the multi-tools. I'm constantly reaching for a screwdriver, pair of pliers, something to pry with, bottle opener, a file, things like that. And there's a lot of options out there to accommodate those needs. And what you've got is not a mess, but there's so many options out there. It's kind of hard to find the right one, and you always get one that doesn't have the tools you want, or in order to get the tools you want, it has too many tools. And so you want to find something that is, optimal. And so I'm sure at some point we've all gone, hey, you know what would be great if we could just design our own and pick and choose the pieces and tell Victorinox, I want a Swiss champ, but I don't need a stupid fish scaler or this and that. These are the tools I want, and I want it in an ALOX. Like that's my dream for an EDC would be to make like a 5-layer ALOX, like a Farmer X, and add in an inline Phillips screwdriver, a pair of pliers, and like a file. I would never carry anything else. That would be the ultimate carry knife for me. They don't make it. They probably never will. So I've been getting into multi-tools, and there's some great ones. I mean, the Leatherman Arc with the Magna Cut blade and stuff. I've got a lesser expensive, but a little smaller, fits in the pocket a little nicer, with spring-loaded pliers, which is really cool. I've got the Wingman. I've got, if I want to go truly minimalist, I've got the Skeletool CX. So I've got some cool options here. And then I've got, on the Victorinox side, I've got the Swiss Tools MX, which is my favorite from them, that does allow one-handed opening and closing and has a good assortment of tools, and it's pretty dang good. I mean, this probably has all the kind of tools you would need, but I like the idea of being able to change it up. So Roxon came out with something. Now, they're not the first. There was another one that came out, but I don't know, they were kind of big and goofy looking, and I didn't think the ergonomics were as good. But I've had some Roxons. They're made in China. Get over it. But they make some good stuff. And so they came out with a truly modularized. So I bought this tool. Now, all my tools aren't here yet. They had a couple that were on back order, but I got most of them. I got a package today that had the pair of pliers, which is really nice, spring-loaded. Came with an adjustment tool to adjust the pivots and make sure it's the right tension you want, and then a extra set of cutting blades. All of that, really nice. Pocket clip, low profile, out of the way, so when you're using the blade, it doesn't bite into your hand because it's on the other side where your fingers are. It's really nice. So what this came empty. It was just a pair of pliers, and all it had were a whole bunch of black plastic spacers here. So what does this do that's different? Why am I excited about this? Well, because you buy all the different tools that you want. You want a saw, you want a metal file, do you want a fine diamond file, do you want a fish scaler, do you want a measuring tool, do you want, pry bar, scissors, what is it that you want, in what order? And unlike a knife that's pressed together, even if you could order it, what if you wanted to change it? What if you want the tool with you, but you're going to a state or you're traveling to a country that doesn't allow a locking blade? Okay, well, I can open this up and take the blade, open it, push that to deactivate the lock bar, and I can wiggle that blade out and put a spacer in, or put in another tool that is allowed in that country. So I may have to go without the blade because they don't allow you to carry, that particular, because that's a weapon. But then I can sit here and I can say, okay, well, now I have a different tool, and I can change the order and put things on this side. So that's what this is. I bought a whole bunch of tools and set this up kind of the way I want, or as close as I could get to it. And we'll touch on that part in a minute. But I've got an awl. I have two blanks. I have two spacers here because I'm waiting on the double. It's a double width because it's a full-size Phillips screwdriver. But I've got a good awl here for boring holes and things. I have a nice diamond file that I could swap out with a crosshatch or straight groove or whatever they call that, with an edge file, so maybe as a mild hacksaw. I could throw that in there. I've got a pair of scissors that I can use, which has a nice spring on it, really nice action. Fold it flat, lock it. All of these are locking instruments. On this side, I have that large sheep's foot blade we'll go into in a minute. I've got a gut hook that actually is really more useful for cutting zip ties, cutting paracord, anything, opening up a package. It's nice to just hook and slice something without having to actually, risk cutting it or, whatever else, or, cutting something you don't intend to cut. I've got, what else we got on here? We got a bottle opener, bottle opener with a screwdriver. We have a can opener. And over here, we've got a file with wire strippers. So either a wood file, use it as a chisel, scrape stickers off of glass or a window or something like that. You got some wire strippers here. I mean, there's some cool tools in here. The pliers are really nice. Came with replaceable bits, blades, cutting blades. They are spring-loaded, which I find better. When you're using a pair of pliers like this, you're cutting a bunch of stuff and you're having to cut and use both hands, and then you got to open it and you cut. Well, what if I'm putting up a small fence to keep the dogs out of the garden or something, and so I've got chicken wire or something. Spring-loaded is really nice. Clip, 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 clip. Much faster. It's not one-handed deployment like the Arc, but neither are any of these other ones, right? Pocket clip is nice. I think I can remove it. I have on some of the others, but here it's so low profile, I'm probably just going to leave it there. Really nice, smooth action. The Leathermans and even the Victorinox, they take a while to really break in and smooth out, and they're still not as smooth as this thing is right out of the box. It's very nice, stainless steel. I think they use D2 on the blades. But I can just reach in, grab that, open it. If you want to lock it, so if it's bouncing around, you're in an environment where you think like, oh, these tools might start to work their way out. Just go ahead and close them and push the locks. And now it's just a pair of pliers. Those things ain't going anywhere. Not that they tend to go anywhere anyway. It's just a little bit of added security. You can basically lock everything in the closed position. And then when you want to deploy things, you push that, and that pushes everything out. And then you just grab the blade you want, push the others in, click. You can adjust the pivot point, so if they're too loose and wobbly and kind of floppy, well, tighten them. You can't do that on this. You can on some of the others, but you can't do it on the Victorinox, which are pressed together. If they're too tight, you just got to wait 4 years for them to wear in a little bit, right? This is nice. The tool is about $60, and then you just buy all the other tools that are $5 to $8, depending on what you want. They got a list of like 30 different tools you can buy. Here's the only downside I found so far. On all of these tools, you've got the same number of tools, 10 and 10, 5 on each side, 5 on that side, you got 5 here. The way they did it, the pliers are centered in the middle so you can have a long, then 3 short, and then a long, and then a long, 3 short, and then a long, right? Same thing on the Leatherman. These other ones are a little different, I think. Well, these are on the inside, so that's different entirely. Here, they offset the pliers to one side to put 2 on one side. And what I'm finding is that works for some things, but some of them do hit and rub, and there's not quite enough space for, depending on what combination. So right now, I'm only able to get 3 long on here. I've got the blade on this side, and there's a space in there, but none of these really fit in there well without rubbing on one of them. The saw one especially was catching. It doesn't quite fit. Now I'm going to play around with it and play with the tension and see, but for some reason it just isn't quite going in. On this side, not a problem. I got the scissors in the file, and I've swapped out that file for that file, and for the wood saw. That side doesn't seem to be a problem. So, but this is their first iteration. I like what they're doing. I like the price. I like that I can change the tools around and remove the blade without having to leave the whole tool at home. If I were to go travel to Europe or something, you're allowed to carry a small non-locking blade in the UK without a purpose, even if it's not for work, as long as the blade's under 3 inches. Well, that's okay. I could carry this. Couldn't carry this one. It's over 3 inches and it locks. This one is under 3 inches, but it locks. Same with all of these. The blades all lock. This one too. The difference is I can have all my normal tools that I might need going through a day or going on a hike or doing whatever I'm going to do over in the UK. But I can go ahead and I could basically, before I leave, take out that blade and put the file in, or just put an empty spacer in there to take up that space and make sure everything's not flopping around. They give you a whole bunch of these things. So that's what I like about this. Even though it's not perfect, I would like to get this wood saw in there. I may just have to play around with these other tools to find, because I'm sure that some of these are a couple thousandths wider than another. So I may just have to find the right one that gives me just the right combination and change the order. So it's not, you can make it the tool you want, but is it 100%? Will you absolutely get exactly the tools you want where you want them? Maybe not. But it's closer than anything else, which is you buy it and it is what it is. And you either buy the smaller tool that fits in your pocket better, that's the size you want, but you give up 2 or 3 of the tools that you need, or you get the big giant one that has the tools you need, but it's bigger than it needs to be because it's probably got 2 or 3 tools you're never going to use. This seems to be in the middle. And size-wise, it's right in there with all the others. This is with all the tools was like $108, and I bought more tools than fit. I mean, I've got 4 extra tools here plus the ones they haven't even shipped yet. I just almost got one of everything. These are $150. This is $230. 108 with the extra tools and spares and stuff. So it's a really nice. I mean, that's cheaper than this guy. This thing was 110 or 115 on their website right now for the Swiss Champ. So it's really nice. I think it's really good. I think it's going to work real well. Is it every bit as good, or will it last 20 years like this Leatherman Arc? I don't know, but I mean, looking at it, it's pretty damn beefy. It seems well made. The ergonomics are better. You know, when you have this thing open, there's nothing sharp, but there are these corners and edges that when you're really like gripping, if you're really trying to cut through a coat hanger or something, you know, it kind of pushes into your hand. It's not comfortable. It doesn't hurt you. It won't cut you. But it's nowhere near as good as the Victorinox. And this is even better than the Victorinox. I mean, these are really nicely rounded edges. That is very, very comfortable to use. Overall, I'm impressed. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think that it would have been nice if there was a crimper on here, but I do like that what it has. It does well. And I wish they had just maybe planned out and put the pliers a little more offset and gave it extra. We're talking a 0.5 millimeter of space in here. If there's an extra 0.5 millimeter in space, like if that washer and then that washer was a little bit thicker, tiny bit, just to move that thing just a couple thousandths over so that you could comfortably get that second tool alongside the blade without scraping or it kind of hitting and not wanting to go in all the way, then I give it a 9.5 or a 9 or 9.5 out of 10. I think that's the only area I would really ding it, is that I can't quite get 4 long tools, or at least I haven't found the right combination of moving them around. And I will play around with that, and I'll give an update if I figure it out. That's the only thing, but this is their first crack at this, you know? I am sure, based on customer feedback and sales, there is going to be a revision 2 of this next year or something, where they'll tweak a few things, or they'll tweak the tools themselves and maybe make them just a tiny bit slimmer to fit in there. This is an easy fix. We'll see if they do it. I mean, shit. If I really wanted to, I could probably go down to my belt sander and just take a little bit off of, let's see if it's in there like that, this edge that's going to be going in and rubbing on that. I could probably go in and just take a little bit of that off, and that would solve that problem. I don't feel like I should have to do that. But hey, this was a prototype, and it's the first release of a new product for this company and kind of new to the market. So I don't expect perfection out of that very first attempt, but they made a really good product for what it is. So I'm going to carry this for a few days and see how I like it, do some work in the backyard. I got to cut some little fencing up for the dogs, and I'm going to see how the pliers hold up and stuff, and I'll go strop that blade, and it seems plenty sharp out of the box, but we'll make sure it's good and razor sharp. But overall, this is a pretty nice tool, and it's a very nice, ingenious idea. I do like it a lot. So there you have it. I got to get back to work. We'll talk to you folks later.